Hello and welcome to the On the Nod pod. I'm your host Will Rooney and I'm delighted to say we're joined by a bumper panel this evening. I'm joined by regular tipsters Anthony Kelly and Henry Gibbs, as well as the returning Paul Mann, and from across the Irish Sea, Darren Butler. Darren, we haven't heard from you for a few weeks. Are you keeping all right over there?
Yeah, all good. Getting ready for a big Christmas now, yeah.
Indeed. How's it all going for you over there? All right?
Yeah, good. We're a long way away from having anybody at the courses, but we're still going strong anyway, and we've got a bumper week now coming into Christmas and then into the February for the Dublin Festival. So yeah, a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. It's a packed programme from now until January, isn't it? And it was a packed weekend last weekend, which we'll start with as ever. And I mean, we've got to touch on Goshen, haven't we, in the international hurdle, which was won by Song, for someone who's proven to be a bit of a friend for the podcast. But Goshen's the main talking points, lads, and we've waited so long to see him back over hurdles, haven't we, after what happened in the Triumph hurdle, and he just blew up. I know there was a couple of excuses given by Gary Moore after the race, but now Goshen at 25-1, he's been pushed out for the champion hurdle. Would you be writing him off for that race?
As the chairman of the Goshen fan club, absolutely not. I mean, I've heard a lot of insanity and garbage being talked about this race on Saturday, and Goshen's not good enough, it won't win a champion hurdle, and that might well be the case. I mean, it takes a decent sort to win the champion hurdle, obviously, but there's a clear excuse there that the horse had a heart issue. So we can forgive that run. I mean, there's a lot of talk in the media, you know, like I say, he's not good enough, he won't win the champion hurdle, but Captain Guinness had a similar issue to what Goshen's had and come back and won last week, but, you know, and everyone's sort of forgiven that, and it's all in the past. Same with Paisley Park as well. Had the same heart issue, comes back, runs a decent second at Newbury last time out, but it seems that with Goshen, it's a completely different story, and I just don't understand it. I mean, I think a lot of it stems from the flat runs and the way, you know, Gary Moore's trained the horse, which I don't necessarily agree with, and I don't think it was the ideal preparation going into this. But there's a clear excuse for the run. I know Jamie Moore's come out and said, Annie, I was listening to Matt Chapman on this is the racing debate on Sky Sports Racing, and he spoke to Jamie Moore and said the horse didn't appreciate, you know, the hustle and bustle, and it got a bit claustrophobic with other horses being around it. But I think that is an excuse and a load of bollocks, to be honest, because if the horse had a heart issue, it's irrelevant what's running beside it or whatever. So next time, yeah, they might send it out in front like they have in the past and try and win its race from the front, which is fair enough. But like I say, I'm willing to forgive it, and if we see Goshen get a run out before Cheltenham and it wins, it's the same old story. I mean, it's still a champion hurdle candidate for me. Obviously, Epatante is going to win if Goshen doesn't turn up. I said that on the anti-post preview, but like I say, I'm chairman of the fan club, and I'm not giving up just yet, Will.
Henry, if Ant's the chairman of the fan club, you're the chairman of the anti-Goshen fan club, aren't you? I mean, that's been, you know, there was a lot of talking points because, as Ant touched upon, the way it's been campaigned against the backdrop of poor flat runs, and we've seen his quirky style over hurdles, albeit he was very good in the Triumph hurdle and before that. But is this just, Frank, your opinion on Goshen, that you've been laying him and you're quite happy to carry on doing that now?
Yeah, was he even a champion like contender before Saturday, or you know what I mean? In my book, he wasn't, like. But now, on a serious note, like, the run was too bad to be true, wasn't it? Even if Goshen ran half the form, he certainly wouldn't have been finishing last in that contest. I think there's just been too many excuses now. The flat runs were one thing, and now he's obviously come out and disappointed over hurdles. And I know he had a bit of a heart condition on Saturday, but there's nothing to say that won't be a problem again. And you can't be backing him for a champion hurdle. There's just too many only negatives for me now. Obviously, the horse is stepping up out of juvenile company for the first time. Always tend to struggle anyway, and nothing's just gone right for the horse as if from start, from the hill, the flat runs to now the international hurdle on Saturday. And people who are backing it at 20 to 1, they must have a bit of a screw loose, in my opinion. I'd much rather back the winner from an anti-post perspective based on what he done on Saturday, because I thought it was quite impressive Song for Someone in terms of he didn't travel with the same enthusiasm. He didn't even look like the likely winner turning into the straight, but he still managed to get his head in front, and that's a couple of decent wins now. And whether it's got the class to challenge Epatante, I think we know that's not the case, but bound to run his race and could easily sneak into the frame, where Goshen, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't even make Cheltenham.
Darren, after his win, Song for Someone's about 20 to 1, Goshen's 25 to 1. If I was to give you a tenner now and you had a match bet between them, where would it go, the 25s or the 20s?
Oh, 20s definitely on Song for Someone. I mean, I'd be looking for a good price, even just for Goshen to turn up now. I'd be concerned. Definitely. I wonder. I mean, the whole idea of the flat runs, I'm not quite sure of what the idea was, because after the horrific fall in the Triumph, you would have thought they might have come back in some easier grade races or something like that to give them a bit of confidence over hurdles and that. So I just didn't understand that. Yeah, look, you can't argue with an issue with the heart, because we know that happens and that. But I was even surprised how they set out to run the race. I mean, you know, he looks good going forward, and you know, they know he gets claustrophobic and that. So I'd agree that you know, we're heading into Altior kind of excuses and that. So I'm not quite sure if he's been maybe he hasn't been okay at home in the first place, and we don't know. But yeah, I would definitely yeah, I'd love to see him turn up. He looked good last year, of course, but yeah, I would be holding out on any bets from him, that's for sure.
Paul, you in on the anti-post preview for the champion races, but I was giving you a tenner now. Where would it be going for the champion hurdle?
For the just with Goshen, it's a bit on the pink button, straight on the lay column. It's just it's disappointed. I had high hopes for it. I thought I was giving it waxing lyrical. That was one of the best Triumph hurdles that we could possibly see. May still will be, because there's been a couple of winners from it. But it's just a mad race when you look at it. I don't know what it is. Like some of the winners here, Pentland Hills, a dog, Tarklis, a dog, Ivanovic Gorbatov, a dog, Peace and Co, a dog. There's literally, you've got Tiger Roll. You can obviously make an argument, but he done not enough over this distance, and then the other one's Deafy as well. So
Connor as well. Obviously, he'll face it, Connor.
Yeah. So you couldn't really make a judgment, but you know, it's like an absolute graveyard. So I'd be put off backing him on the champion hurdle alone for that. I don't know what's up with that race. And then the flat runs as well. They weren't asking them to win an e-book. They were egg and spoon races. So I had to come dead last in them.
And it showed flat form before that. It's not like it was just a case of it's no good on the flat, because it won some like similar average flat races very easily prior to going over hurdles. So they can't even use the idea of it running on the flat as an excuse, because it was still winning by 15-20 lengths on the flat prior to going over hurdles last year. So I'd be interested to know why Anthony thinks it's a good bet. Like, on the basis of what, Ant? Like, are we going off that one Triumph run? Is that what we're going off, or is there something else that keeps you going back to Goshen?
It's just the runs over hurdles last year. Obviously, the Triumph as well. I mean, it was going to hack up, weren't it? But obviously, there's, like you were saying there, it's done well on the flat in the past, and then it's returned this year and performed poorly. So you just don't become bad overnight, do you? I mean, it's got to be an underlying issue there, surely. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I don't know. I just can't. Gary Moore, I think he didn't know what to do, because he had such a high quality horse, and he's just everyone was like, oh, the low flat mark, you need to make use of the low flat mark. And he's jumped on that idea. He's running it in silly flat races. And then, oh, it's burning up the gallop, so let's run it in the elite hurdle. Oh, no, let's not. Oh, let's run it. But there was another race that it was supposed to go for, didn't show up.
Fighting fifth.
Yeah, fighting fifth. Let's go there now. And he turned up in this international hurdle, dead excited, and now he's making an excuse saying it got too claustrophobic and things like that.
I don't think he was dead excited about running it on Saturday though. I thought he was very cagey, Gary Moore, in the whole build up to it all. Like, the horse wasn't scoping well and wasn't doing well at home. I think there was a lot of pressure on him to run Goshen this weekend because of the pull-outs beforehand. And if I sent you to run the London Marathon tomorrow and you turned up with an irregular heartbeat, you're not going to complete the course, are you? So I mean, if the horse has got an irregular heartbeat and there's something wrong there, you found out what's wrong with it. So I'm more than willing to give the horse another chance.
And do you think that Gary Moore should have took, say, the tack like Willie Mullins does? Say with Alboon Photo, it's going to Tremor, run and then go on the Gold Cup. Do you think Gary Moore's just been steadfast and thought, this is my belief as a trainer, we're going to, say, the Kingwell hurdle in February and then we're going to Cheltenham? That's it.
No, not at all. No, but the horse should have run on Saturday if it was fit enough and well enough to run and scope well. But everything beforehand, there was no great confidence. There was no... I mean, I know it got backed in on the day, but there was a big drift the day before, so I don't know whether it was just Saturday punters getting on Goshen because they see, here's this big horse that should have hacked up in the Sion Field, get on it. Because there was a significant drift the day before, and like I say, I don't think the stable were that confident about it winning. But at 25-1 for the champion hurdle, yeah, I mean, at the moment, it probably doesn't look a great bet, and would I recommend other people having a bet on it? Probably not, but if I want to put a couple of quid each way on, I mean, if you can get a run in beforehand and perform well, that 25-1 could look like an absolute bargain, couldn't it? It could be the greatest value ever more. The horse has got a health problem. It hasn't just turned up and ran like a pig for nothing. There's an underlying issue.
Paul, to get where your tennis going.
Yes, I was just going to say there, take a swing. I think Henry mentioned it on the anti-post one. It'll be Saudi for me as well at the prices. Take a little swing at that. 25s. I'd like to see him out in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, don't want him going straight there, but bit of spring grounds. Willie Mullins, it's not his first rodeo. 25s. Epatante did need to start now to catch Epatante, but Saudi could chase it on for the forecast and land a bit of place money.
And Darren, very quickly from you before we go on to the Peterborough Chase, who would you be backing with the £10 for the champion?
I'd probably go 5 each way on Sharjah.
Sharjah, second in the race last year.
Yeah.
Good stuff, lads. Well, we'll go on to the Peterborough Chase, which we did discuss a couple of weeks ago when we thought it was going to be a Huntington. Obviously got moved to Cheltenham, and Mr. Fisher took full advantage of that. Was a very decent winner, now up to a mark of 162. So it's £1 less than Imperial Aura, who people are raving about for the Ryanair. And Henry, I know that you're a big fan of Mr. Fisher. How impressed were you with his performance?
Yeah, I was very impressed, Will, to be honest. One of my first anti-post plays went on Friday afternoon for Cheltenham, and it was on Mr. Fisher for the Ryanair. I just thought it was a very good performance on ground. That's probably not going to see Mr. Fisher to his best effect. I think he wants it a bit more on the quick side, and for him to win after obviously disappointing first time out, comes back and wins quite a competitive grade 2. Looking back on it, obviously top notch was a bit disappointing, and Fanny and Destroval was coming to the challenge and fell 3 out. But Mr. Fisher, he jumped well in the main. He did get in tight to a couple, but I was just really impressed with what he done after the last, because he was obviously joined by Kalashnikov, who's a good strong stayer at the trip, and you think Kalashnikov was coming to win the race, but Mr. Fisher, Nico, just got eked out a little bit more after the last, and he stayed on strongly to the line. And he's only 6 going on 7. I think there's definitely more improvements in him. And like I said, on that spring ground, that hopefully we get this in next year, because we haven't had it for the last couple of years. But if it is good to soft ground come March, he's got to be a very lively player. Like you said, he's only £1 below the current favourite, and I think they've both got equal amounts of improvements in the locker. So at 20-1, Ryanair, where you're not going to get a lot of the market principles even running in this race, I think that's more than fair at this stage.
20-1 at the minute. Darren, I know that you were on Dolos when the race was going to be at Huntington. Did you change tack when it got moved to Presby Park?
No, I stuck with him, and 3 out, I thought I was onto a very good thing. But yeah, Mr. Fisher, he was impressive. I thought it was a great ride he got as well. He actually had a flat spot. I think it was 3 or 4 out, and I thought he was gone, but he really came into the race well. Yeah, I think 12-1 is not a bad each way price, because it looks, you look at who's in the race at the moment, and he's probably one of the few that you could think he's going to turn up there, unless he comes out and does something even more special next time. So I would think he's a fair bet. Would he beat Min if Min turns up? I wouldn't be too sure of that, or even surname. But I would say he's a good each way bet at the moment. Yeah, he was impressive, definitely.
It might have been my accent, because it's 20-1 with best 365. So would that tempt you even more?
Definitely each way at that. Definitely each way at that price. Kalashnikov, I thought, didn't run a too bad of a race either. He was interfered with a few out, and he was running on well as well. So I would, I wouldn't give up on him just yet. But definitely Mr. Fisher, 20-1 each way. Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent bet.
Good stuff. And we'll go on to our eye catchers from last weekend. And Darren, I'm going to predict that yours was Chatham Street lad who came over for Mick Winters and absolutely romped home, didn't he?
Yeah, I've got 2. I mean, yeah, he did, but I mean, the problem there is he won so well that he's going to have to go graded races now. I'm not sure the jockey was going to be congratulated too much when he got back into the weighing room after winning that well. He's got to go up probably 9-10 pounds, which is going to bring him into over 150, 51. But where is he going to go? The Marsh or the Ryanair? I'm not sure he's quite in that in that kind of sphere at the moment. But he was certainly impressive. I mean, he at one stage you could have, if it had to be in one of them foggy days we've had recently, you'd think he's only had to join in at the last fence or something like that. He was seriously impressive. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he comes out again and does it. We kind of sometimes have these flash in the pan. Mick Winters didn't seem to be, I mean, it wasn't a big gamble or anything like that, so I'm not sure the stable were as confident as how well the horse won. But yeah, I mean, look, 33-1 for the Marsh or the Ryanair. Ryanair probably cut up like we said, and yeah, he could be something special, but I'd like to see it a second time out before I'd be investing too much money. One for the tracker that I did take out of the weekend was in Fairy House, Size and Potsy. He won very well in Fairy House, and I would think maybe not for Cheltenham, but possibly over Christmas or the Dublin Festival, he might be one just sticking in a tracker. He won very well.
Good stuff, Paul. Anything that's gone into your little black book that's so infamous?
No, it's just Mullins one in the bumper over on Saturday, but obviously it's an embarrassment to riches, so I wouldn't look too much into it, but it says backed in and won accordingly, so it'd be interesting to see what the mayor's list of bumper at Aintree might be one for that to keep on the Thursday, so that was all that caught my eye on the air, but so you don't have to be too shrewd to have noticed that.
What was that, Brandy Love, was it?
It was, that was the one, yeah, thought it won nicely.
And Henry, anything for you?
2 for me from Cheltenham on Saturday. First one was Happy Go Lucky in one of the earlier races, 12:05, novice chaser. Stepped up to over 3 miles for the first time, and I just thought he didn't have to improve for it. Travel like a travelly thing for the whole race, and powered clear. Addled when left alone in front, but still won pretty decisively, and I think Tim Bailey's got another good staying chaser there to go forward with. In terms of horses that were beaten, one that went in my notebook was Mo Hayard. ran in a 3-mile handicap hurdle on 3:35 race on the Saturday. That was only his second start now over 3 miles, and he ran at Aintree in November where he was beaten just over the length by, you know what I mean, Harry, finishing second, and then he stayed on from off the pace at Cheltenham on Saturday, finishing third behind Come On Teddy, who was just a handicap loss himself, to be fair, sneaking in off the bottom of the weights for Tom George, but he'll obviously go up now, where I think Mo Hayed looks like he'll probably stay off 141. Previous county hurdle winner, I think just as he's got older with age, he wants a bit more of a trip, and I can see him being targeted at one of the staying handicap hurdles over the next few months, and hopefully he'll go well.
We'll go on to this weekend's action, and again, ITV Racing providing us with terrestrial action on Friday afternoon, and there is racing from Ascot and Navan, and we'll start with the 2:30 at Ascot, which is the Sky Bet Supreme Trial Novices Hurdle, registered as the Kennel Gate. Grade 2 affair. Darren, Nicky Henderson has got a short price favourite in this. Would you be siding with him?
Yeah, I would be probably siding with him over my Drogo. Certainly, he seems to have much stronger form in what he's done so far. My Drogo, I would think, I'm not sure what we beat really last time out. 200-1 was second, and you know, I'm not sure what that's going to do ever again. I like Shantou Express in certainly at least in an each way bet. I think you know, he won well. It was quite a bog in his last race, but he won very well. So depending on the ground coming up on Friday, I think he could be a fair bet. You know, he was hardly off the bridle at one stage, and it was a tough out race. So I would go Shantou Express, take a chance on him, but probably the favourite is the one obviously to beat. Yeah. And
the favourite does start, no price for you, is it?
No.
No, I'm on my Drogo here. I think it ran a cracker in a bumper at Cheltenham. I think it was back in October. It come from off the pace that day. Only found the Henderson charge. I am Maximus too good that day. So thought that was a cracking run. And I thought it was a decent maiden hurdle last time that it won at the Ladbrokes Carnival at Newbury. Had the likes of Flint or Sacre in behind, and we know that's highly rated. Like Dan said, that 200-1 shot may well not run a decent race again, but probably had the race of its life there, hasn't it? I think my Drogo looks very progressive, so I'm happy to take it here. It looks like it travels well. It looks like it might need a bit further in future, but for me, I'm happy to take it in a race like this, but I don't think we'll be getting the Supreme Novice winner from this race, put it this way, Will.
One shout for Shantou Express, one shout for my Drogo. Paul, are you going to start your weekend by lumping on this knockpot to get your kitty up there and have something to play with over the Saturday and Sunday?
No, I'm quite strong on one in this, surprisingly, and it's Tom Simon's lad and Narbo lad. Say Simon's fresh off his winner Saturday. I think they are ticking along nicely. They're about 24-25%. Just digging through the form there. Last time out, he beat one of Michael Scudamores in a listed race comfortably by about 4 lengths without having say that didn't have to do much to dispatch of that, but it took listed on us nicely. And it's the race before that. He beat one of McCain's. That's then come out and won his next 2 quite comfortably. And the one back in there 4th for Twiston Davis, I think it is, won next time out as well. So there's quite a bit of substance to the form. He's got a rating there of 141, so the top 2 above him in the betting. You know, it's a decent yardstick to take a swing at 141, so he's going to be thereabouts, unless the other 2 are way above average. I think Johnson's booked up on it already, so it's a good indicator it's likely to go. So it's about 5-1, 11-2. Caught my eyes, probably my strongest play for Friday, lad and Arbo lad.
Henry, are you going to give us a 4th selection, or are you going to frank someone else's pick?
Yeah, I like the favourite here. Unfortunately, Dussart, I think, to top horse, to be honest. I'm really impressed with his first racecourse run. Obviously, beating Soaring Glory around 43 days ago now it was, and I think that was impressive to me. It beat Soaring Glory there, 2.5 lengths, and the front 2 a pretty decent way clear. I know Soaring Glory is another one that's highly thought of at John Joe's Yard. Arguably the best he'd got, and just put that to the sword last time out. The way it powered clear, to be honest, it reminded me of Shiskin and his novice hurdler Newbury prior to going on to the Supreme. The way he powered clear, beating a decent horse, and it's only going to be his second start on Friday, and I think he'll just continue to improve. And although I wouldn't recommend getting on 11-8 on Friday, he's 14-1 for the Supreme, and I think if he does win on Friday, that'll half in price. So although I wouldn't recommend a play at the 11-8, I'd maybe recommend a little anti-post play on the Supreme, because I can see him being Nicky's main horse for that race, with Flint Sacre obviously disappointing. I can see where Paul's coming from in regards to his selection. He has got some strong form in the book. He said Johnson booked up, so must mean business, and you can get around 5-1, but you'd have to put a career best up by a long way to give the likes of Dussart and my Drogo £5, in my opinion. So it's a race to watch, but a little go on Dussart anti-post for the Supreme prior to running on Friday would be my advice.
Well, Henry's seen comparisons of Shiskin in Dussart and in a 305 at Ascot, which is the Noel Novice's Chase, won by some top horses in the past, like of Politolog, the reigning champion chasers, Simon Sig as well, Petit Zig. Are we going to see a similar top horse in this, Darren, do you think? Or would you
it looks good.
Side of caution?
Well, it does look a good race. Trying to pick the winner now would be interesting. I like Fiddler on the Roof. I think, he's solid. He's done nothing wrong. Pictori, I'm just a little bit concerned around his jumping. He travels so well, but I mean, I know his last fall, it could be one of them things. But even in his previous race, which I think was his first race for Paul Nichols, if I'm right, in the UK, he didn't jump great. He came second, and he didn't jump great. So I'm just cautious of his jumping, to be honest with you. And Fiddler on the Roof is a pretty decent horse. And also then we have Nicky Henderson's Alert. Am I right in saying that this is his first time over fences?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously you're taking a lot on chance there. So yeah, I mean, on the basis that it's his first time over fences, I think Fiddler on the Roof could be a decent bet this weekend.
Henry, have you picked anything else at this early stage?
Yeah, looking at the race, to be fair, I don't think the horses are running that great at the moment. In terms of Pictori, I can only echo what Darren's already said. You'd be taking a chance backing him, judging on his first two runs over fences. Didn't jump well, did he, first time out when he finished second behind the Patriots? And don't get me wrong, it's a solid horse with Richard Newland, but he's going to be no well beater. And then he was obviously travelling all over Chantry House next time, but fell free out there. And I don't know, the jumping concerns have put me off backing him at a short price here. Fiddler on the Roof, he is solid, but I just can't be backing anything Collins' runs at the moment. There's definitely something going on with his yard. The horses just aren't running to the ability we expect, so I'd avoid backing him at a short price. This will be his fourth run in quite a short time as well. Bold Plan, it was impressive in beating one of his yards, the big breakaway at Exeter, but he's a horse that's just never been the most consistent sort. He'll put one good run in and then he might pull up next time. So I couldn't put my faith in him. So therefore, the one I've landed on is All Art for Henderson. Although it is his chasing debut, he's always said this horse's whatever he'd done over Earls would be a bonus. He's always thought it was a chaser. Finished fifth in what was a strong renewal of the Supreme. And I think he'll be better suited by a slightly step up and trip. I know this is obviously chasing, but I think 2.5 will be his distance over fences, and he's making his chase debut over 2 miles 3 year, which is stepping up from the 2 mile distance he ran over hurdle. So just from a price perspective and just with the unknowns about the others, I'd be happy to chance Henderson having a little double on Ascot here on Friday, and I'd go with All That.
Must be showing something at home as well to be entered at this sort of level on his first time.
Exactly, yeah, definitely.
And Paul, anything for you?
In this one, no, and I don't look at it just then, and nothing catches my eye, so I'll just take the long iron out and lay up and try and save par.
Well, I'll echo what Henry says. I'll also say, if you're throwing a horse over fence in this sort of competition first time out, then it's obviously shown some ability at home. There's also a race at Navan on Friday afternoon. It's the 135 at Navan Novices Hurdle. Great to affair, and Darren, you're at that side of the water, and it looks a very, very hot contest.
It does, yeah. I mean, obviously, we don't know for sure who's turning up just yet, but it'd be interesting to see if the front runners do. For Alan, I think he's really interesting. He was with Gordon Elliott originally, and he ran against Andy Dufresne. And before that race, Gordon Elliott actually said that Andy Dufresne was a much better horse than him, and he would go on to much better over fences, especially. He then was switched to Willie Mullins since then, and I think we all know Willie Mullins can do wonders with them. So he's got to be worth a shout. Fakira stayed on very well. Has got a good bit of experience on side there as well. And Esquilane was beaten by Ngolo from Willie Mullins' yard, which is a good yardstick for any hurdler in that. I'd probably go with Further Alan. It's probably not going to be too much of a big price, but I just think Willie Mullins is starting to put together a run now, and Christmas is always a good time to be on Willie's side.
Henry Further Alan, that's your novice hurdle to follow for the season, isn't it?
Yeah, he was anyway. I was not gonna lie, I was disappointed with him last time out when he finished fourth. It wasn't a bad little race what he did finish fourth in. He was obviously beaten by Elliott's other one, Fakira, in that race. But I'm always happy to forgive one bad run. And Gordon Elliott's horses weren't really running as well as you'd expect them to at that time. So whether the run just came a little bit too soon after his debut, I don't know. But his bumper forms there in the book, it was very strong. And he was a horse that I was really excited to see. And obviously he's been obviously a little follow, and I couldn't argue with backing him because at the prices available. But I think I seen he was about 11-2, which I don't know if that suggests he might not line up on Friday, because I don't think he'd be 11-2 if he did line up in this race. But you'll have to wait and see. I do like the Brownhead's horse in this though, Holy Macapony. And then just trying to see you later to the rest of them, won by several lengths there. You get similar ground on Friday. You'd like to think that was on soft to heavy, and I think it's currently soft now at Navan with more rain forecast. So I expect similar ground. I think Blackmore will go from the front, and I think she'll set the fractions well and pretty tough to pass. I think this horse has got a bit of speed too. So if she does go slowly, I think that might be the best play, setting the fractions slow and then maybe turning it into a test of speed, because the market principle looks like it'll be Fakira going off the betting in terms of the ones that are going to line up here. And I think this horse would be better at more of a stamina sapping test. Obviously won over 2.5 last time out, but he was off the bridle a long way out there and just stayed on for pressure. So he's one I'd one over 3 miles, maybe like an Albert Bartlett type horse, where I think Holy Macapony, I think got a bit more class, a bit more speed, and I think he'll prove tough to pass from the front. So if Frédéric Deland does run, I wouldn't put anyone off, because I do think his bumper form is really strong, and I do think I can forgive that one bad run last time out. But going off the betting, I don't think he's going to show up. So it's Holy Macapony for me.
Paul, any nuggets of wisdom to add to that?
Just quick too there in the 155. I'm going to take a chance on Son of Camos for Henderson. It's about the 12-1 mark there. It was backed in last time out quite heavily. I say it pulled up again, so it's not the best form. Pulled up, but say it's dropped down in strip here, giving it another go. Third run after the wind surgery I'd argue is probably the best hurdle form in this race. Beat the fairly useful King rolling quite comfortably. So comes in here, say dropping strip, very open race, 12-1. I'm going to give that one more chance. And then it's just a bumper. Richard Spencer's Wonderwall reappears, and again, jockey's jocked up here, so it's a good indicator it's going to go. Got smashed in last time, and just held off the Queen's horse for Henderson. So it gets in here unpenalised. No idea what price it'll be. It hasn't been priced up yet. I'd imagine it'll be, if not favourite, certainly prominent. So say depending on the prices, more of a watching brief, as I was quite impressed with it, but say depending on the prices, I might have a few shillings each on it to top off the day.
Superb stuff, lads. We'll go on to Saturday then, where we have a pre-Christmas cracker of a long walk hurdle, and we see the rematch of Time Hill against Paisley Park after their duel at Newbury last month. And what a show that was, Paul. I mean, you want to see Anthony Joshua against Tyson Fury. That's the equivalent, isn't it, to two staying hurdlers going at it. Time Hill at the minute is 2-1, Paisley Park 9-4, Main Fact 7-1, Roxana 7-1, and Siler Bailey's in the betting at 8-1. Paul, what did you make of that long distance hurdle, and who would you be on for the long walk hurdle?
It's an absolute cracker. We're arguably race of the season so far. I think, as I say, we had our lay, didn't we? When I was quite strong on that Fabulous. I'm coming in from home. I was on the phone to Amigo Loans with Anthony as the guarantor to try and pay off the debt with her. But no, it just seemed to, and then Time Hill and Paisley Park got to it. But it was an absolute ding dong. And I say with this one Saturday, I can't. And I know he doesn't get the £3 this time, but I thought Time Hill was always holding it. And I think he'll say the young whippersnapper, the young up and comers. He'll see off the old guard again. He obviously couldn't write off Paisley Park, but I'd be surprised if he turned the tables. Say Time Hill was, that's come in to join favourites, so it's not much of a price, but say I won't be having a bet on it. But I'm going Time Hill to carry on this ridiculous Albert Bartlett form. Say just firing in winners left, right, and centre. It's going to go down as one of the strongest. But yeah, it's just more of a watching brief. Time Hill, I think, will win. And each way I'd throw in Kildesart, but say a watching brief. It's what a race to behold.
You've been quiet for a little while. Surely you've had a look at this race. It looks a belter, and your old favourite Roxana's in it.
Exactly. That's my selection as well. Obviously, in the anti-post preview, I put up Roxana to win. Well, each way bet for the stayers, and with Ronald Pump not turning up here, I'd look like a fool if I didn't put Roxana up at 7-1. I think it's a good bet, isn't it? I mean, excellent form over 3 miles. I mean, last season it was running over a shorter strip. I mean, I can't look past Roxana. For me, obviously, like Paul's already mentioned, Paisley Park isn't getting the £3 off Time Hill. Those two might well fight it out, but for me, I'll go for Roxana cruising up on the bridle, 2 furlongs out, and taking it up to win. Running past those two, battling against each other.
Darren, who'd you be on for the race?
It'll be a watching race for me, but I'd be siding with Paisley Park just to reverse on the basis that he's got the run under his belt now, and he may well. But I do like also the fact that Roxana's getting the £7, definitely. Sorry, the Burley, I would love to see turn up, but I reckon there's a good chance he's going to turn up in Leopardstown on the 28th of December. There's €100,000 hurdle there that I think it's an easier race than this, that's for sure. So there's a good chance he'll go there. And actually, Ronald Pump is also entered in that race as well. So that'll give us a good idea, a bit around the Irish form for the long distance hurdle. But I'd go with just Paisley Park, but just about. It wouldn't be with a lot of conviction or a lot of money, that's for sure.
Henry, what about you? Would you be on Time Hill because you are the chairman of the Time Hill fan club, like Ant's the chairman of the Goshen fan club?
Yeah, I think Time Hill will confirm the form with Paisley Park, to be honest. I see they're both priced up, aren't they, around 2-1, and I just think Time Hill's the up and comer, isn't he? Where we know Paisley Park's been there, done that, and although it was an impressive comeback run, I always think it's hard. You've got to be really, really good to come back from a disappointing, effort in the stays. I know, again, it had its heart issue, but in the stays, you always see the up-and-coming stars. They always tend to come through and prove to be the best. And where Paisley Park has probably had his best season, I think Sam Hill's coming into his best part of his career now, and I just think he'll confirm that form. Although Paisley Park's entitled to come on for a run, I think Sam Hill's entitled to come on for his seasonal debut as well. So I'd be happy to play Sam Hill if it's going off the same price. I'd love to see Cider Bailey come over, because that's a horse that does interest me. He was impressive on his comeback over 2.5, and he'd obviously be a better horse over 3 going off his Cheltenham form, especially on the soft ground. So hopefully he does come over, but like Darren said, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. Main Fact, I don't think that horse is up to this level. I'd be happy to lay him all day. I think Roxanne is a much better each-way price than Main Fact at this stage, especially getting the mare's allowance. But yeah, Roxanne, she was impressive on a comeback run. I can certainly see Anthony's argument for it, but I think the front 2 are way clear at this moment, and I do think Sam Hill's the new kid on the block. That'll confirm that form with Paisley Park on Saturday.
What price if one of them 2 wins, the stayers about 9-2 for it, 7-4, 15-8 for the winner here?
Yeah, if they win by a couple of lengths, you'd have to think so. If it's another head bob, I can't see, especially if it's Sam Hill, because there'll be an idea that Paisley Park will be more suited to Cheltenham, maybe. I don't know, but if Sam Hill goes and wins this impressively, or Paisley Park wins it impressively, you're certainly getting around 15-8, because it'll probably have one more run, won't it, in a similar race before going to Cheltenham in March. So yeah, if hopefully I did put Sam Hill up at the very start of the season when it was 14-1, so hopefully a few listeners got on at that price, but I certainly don't think it's too late if you can get 9-2, 5-1 for Sam Hill, because when it wins on Saturday, like Paul said, it'll certainly be shorter.
I agree with that, Henry. Definitely get on now if you do fancy it. We'll rattle through a couple of the other races on Saturday, lads. The 3:35 at Ascot is the Betfair Exchange Trophy Grade 3 Handicap Hurdle. Paul, we haven't come to you first. I'm going to give you the honour of unsolving this puzzle where we don't know who the 22 runners is going to be in it. So good luck to you.
So it's 3:35.
3:35, yeah.
Might have to go to the back. Oh no, I don't. It's unfortunately I'm stuck with one here. It's my Cliff Horse for 2020. It's Milkwood. As I say, he's possibly might have 2 entries. So it may not where he goes here, but if he does, as I say, it's the Welsh Champ Hurdle form that I'm going off. He's up against Buzz as well, who's probably going to go off favourite, but he gets £6 off him this time for a 2-length defeat, so he's waited to turn this round. I see he's ran well. In fact, I think he is going to go here. This is his main target. So, should be getting a run off him. I see about 8-1 mark for Mulholland. So he's been thereabouts in his last 2. So the aforementioned Welsh Champ Hurdle, and then he ran another cracker. And again, it's just that Cliff Horse. I've got to keep backing it until it wins, and then I can cross it off. So it's Milkwood here.
Darren, anything for you in the race at this early stage?
I'm interested in just watching Buzz, just see how he goes, because he could be something a little bit better than a handicapper, but I'll probably go with if he turns up the John Joe O'Neill Arrivederci. It's also entered in Haydock on Saturday, so I'm not sure where he's going to go, but his only career fall was his last race, but apart from that, he's won a Class 3 off top weight, and he was second to Fiddler on the Roof this time last year as well. So I think it's decent form. He's 14-1. It's a decent each way bet. But I kind of wondering, is Buzz just a great horse in the handicap?
Impressive.
Henry, have you given up on Kid Commando yet?
I don't think. Well, he's about 14-1 for this, to be fair, isn't he? That's not a bad bet, but I think. I don't know, to be honest. He's back over 2 mile now, which might be the right decision, to be fair, because I think even though I thought he might improve for the step up and trip, I think he just ran a bit too keen over the 2.5 on soft ground last time out, and that's what sort of had him beat.
It was desperate ground as well, wasn't it, at Haydock, as we see?
Yeah, he's obviously returning here now, course and distance winner at Ascot and back over 2 mile. 14-1, certainly not a bad each way bet. I wouldn't put anyone off. In terms of buzz, I agree with Darren in terms of it could be a group horse and a handicap, graded horse and a handicap, but I think he'd have to be to win this off top weight, because there is some decent handicappers getting quite a lot of weight off him here. So the 2 I landed on was Kid Commando, just for the reason that I did love him at the start of the season. He was a good winning nap for his first time out, and then I'm happy to forgive him over 2.5 on horrendous ground, carrying top weight at Haydock. Honeyball's obviously dropped him back to 2 miles here, back at Ascot. So yeah, that's a good each way bet. And I do like Milkwood as well for Neil Mulholland. He was really unlucky last time out, wasn't he, behind Fluorescent at Newbury? He just had no luck in running whatsoever, hampered by a faller, and then just couldn't get out, just kept on really strongly to the line, and he's only up £1 for that. He's definitely capable of winning a handicap like this off a mark of 142. My only niggling concern with him is he definitely won't want it too deep. So if we do get the rain, I can see him either being a non-runner on the day or a no bet and just go with Kid Commando. But if the rain sort of stays away and it's no worse than soft, I'd go with Milford and Kid Commando each way.
Also racing from Haydock on Saturday on ITV, and the race we're looking at is the 240, which is the Betfair Tommy Whittle Handicap Chase 2 Class 2 affair over 3 mile and 1.5 furlongs. Henry, you went last on the last one, so you can go first on this one.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite an open betting race, doesn't it, in terms of for the Tommy Whittle, which we always get. We've got Hill 16 leading the market, who's back over fences after winning the hurdles race last time out, where he put his low mark to good use. He had quite a hard race that day, and he's had, don't get me wrong, he's had enough 4 weeks to recover, but it wouldn't be one for me at these prices. The one I've landed on is Roll Again for Venetia Williams. 3 mile slog on heavy ground. She's the woman you look for, isn't she? And Roll Again won very impressively, I thought, last time out at Ludlow. I think that's the race that'll work out quite well. I like the second as well in that, Trucking Away. I think he's definitely going to be winning soon. We all know the Haydock fences, they require good jumping. And if he jumps like he did at Ludlow, he's going to relish this test, and I think he'll have a lot of the others in trouble down the back straight. So I'm hoping he gets sent to the front. He has form on soft ground, form over 3 miles, so I think he's one of the most solid bets on the weekend, and he'll do for me in this contest.
Darren, anything that you can pick out for us?
I had a quick look at it earlier. Yeah, I would probably go Hill 16. He's certainly, he's a different horse when he changed owner and trainer. He's very versatile. From 2 miles up to 3 miles, he's won, and the ground won't be a problem. So I would think 3-1 is a fair bet for him. The only thing is, the Nigel Twiston-Davies didn't have the best of times, or wasn't anyway. And so yeah, I'd be happy enough to go with Hill 16. And it's a coincidence bet for me as well, because on Saturday is the All Ireland here in Dublin, and Hill 16 is our COP, equivalent to the COP there in Liverpool. So I presume that's what they've called it after. So hopefully we'll be celebrating on the double on Saturday.
Do you fancy Dublin? They're too good, aren't they, at this minute in the football?
Yeah. You'd be definitely they should. Although if there's one team that always puts it up to them, it's Mayo. So it's going to be it's going to be a good game. It's just a shame that we have no supporters and that, but it's just great to see it happening.
Indeed it is. So I was actually over in Cork a couple of years ago, so Cork's my team when it comes to the Gaelic. I do watch it quite a bit when it's on. Paul, anything for you in the Tommy Whittle?
No, sir. I haven't had to look at this one, so I'll leave it to the gurus.
Well, we've had plenty there, so we'll wrap up our podcast as ever by getting everyone's best bet for the weekend to make up a lucky 15 for listeners. If you're having a bet, make sure you're 18 plus and gamble responsibly. Darren, we'll come to you first on your best bet for the weekend, please.
I'll stick with Hill 16.
Hill 16.
Yeah.
Ant, you've been quiet for a while, so the floor is yours.
Arrivederci for me in that 25-4. I think it travelled strongly last time out of Haydock on attritional conditions, and obviously come to grief for a hail. We can't forgive that though. And it did beat the subsequent winner there, Warlords, the race before that. So 14-1, I'll be all over Arrivederci. Probably not each way, probably to win.
Paul?
Yes, I'll go off from the ITV cameras. 12.55 Haydock, now to Prada for Michael Scudamore. I put my foot through this one first time out this season, and it got done by a nice horse of Newlands. When I took on that race, it was good to softer Hexham, but it certainly looks I thought he could do with it being an absolute ball. And then he got that next time out of Foss last, he went on and hacked up by 12 lengths. I've just checked the weather there for Hayes, and it's possibly they're going to avoid the majority of the rain. So he possibly might hinder it slightly, but then again, the clerk of the course, he likes to send the forest fire helicopters out regardless, and empty. So hopefully we can get a lagoon there. Safe jockeys up already, so it looks like it's going to go. Not too sure what the price will be, but I imagine it won't be too short. So that's a Prada 12.55.
And Henry, last but not least.
Yeah, I'm going to get us a nice winner on Friday, just so we can get one ticked off before Saturday's action. I think Holy Macapony will hose up in the Navan Novices Hurdle, 135 on the Friday.
Superb stuff, lads. Well, it's been a pleasure as always, and hopefully next week we'll be back with our bumper Christmas action special where we previewing Kempton and Leopardstown. So Darren will be able to give us the insight into the Irish racing, and we'll be able to bring you all the action this side of the water. You've been listening to the On the Knob pod. Join us next time.